Good evening, guys. Welcome to the fifth tutorial, which is arrays and sorting arrays and super globals. Without wasting much time, we'll create a file. Array. In PHP, we will talk of arrays. Arrays simply store multiple values in a variable. They simply store multiple values in a variable. Now, let's take an example. Now, look at something like this. If you have a list of names that you want to store, you have $name1 is equal to, let's say, Paul. You go to $name2. Let's say G, $name3, let's say Sheila. Now you have those three names. Those names are saved. You save them inside three different variables. That really is time wastage, occupying space, and so on. You can simply save all of these in an array. And in order for you to save that in an array, you need to create an array. And in order to create an array, you use the keyword array like this, and then like this, and then the elements in the arrays should be inside. So that's simply how we create an array. So in order to create an array like this, you simply write you can create an array of $names is equal to array, and then you put the names inside, as simple as that, where the names can be Paul, G, and Sheila. So when we talk of an array, it stores multiple values in a variable. This is a variable names that has the value Paul, G, and Sheila. Whereas if you were to use the previous method, you're supposed to create one variable for this, another variable for this, another variable for this. Yeah, that's really tedious. Now we have different types of array. When we talk of types of arrays, we have the first type, which is what we call indexed array. The second type, which we call associative arrays, and the third type, which we call multidimensional arrays. Now, if you look at our program, we have a place under the advanced PHP. We are going to study the multidimensional arrays. So for now, we are not going to see that multidimensional array, because that one is left for PHP advanced. You need to understand what an index and an associative array is. Now, when we talk of indexed array, first one. Now, please pay attention. Pay attention very well. When we talk of index array, they are simply arrays that start with 0 and can be assigned automatically or manually. They are simple arrays that start with 0. That starts at 0 and can be assigned an index manually or automatically. So we'll talk of, they are simply arrays that start at 0 and can be assigned indexes manually or automatically. Now let's look at these two. We have this first one and this second one. Now we have our array names. Now if you want to assign it automatically, it's simply by assigning it automatically. We have names here, name Paul, G, and so on. So for the first index is usually 0. So it simply means this 0 here or Paul here can be assigned as it, where you can still be assigned like names of 0. Name of 0. Actually here you are going to have Paul. If you do $names of 1, you are going to have G. And then if you do, let's say, $names of 2, you are going to have Sheila. So this is like assigning it manually, whereas this is assigning the index automatically. Now you have to understand that we can have a situation where you might want to assign maybe an array variable, let's say 4, which does not exist in the array. Remember, we said an array starts at 0, the index starts at 0. This is element 0, element 1, and element 2, which means that your array cannot have anything greater than element 2 here. If not, you have what we call array out of bounds, or out of bounds error. So you can simply assign the index either manually or automatically. Now, if you need to access an element in an array, you simply need what we call the array name. You use this brace, array name, and array and element position, and you close with square brace. You need the name of the array and the element position. That's what we did here. The name of the array was what? The name of the array was names. We did $names, and then the element position, either position 0, 1, or 2. Then you enter maybe the element position. That's how to access. That's how you can do to access the element of an array. Now there are also, okay, let's launch this array first. There is question mark somewhere. Okay, let me remove this. Now, array has one of the vast or the largest functions in PHP. Just the array itself. For example, if you start writing array, you realize that the number of functions under PHP or in array, there are so much. Array underscore count values, array underscore push, array underscore run, array underscore. They are just so many. So array is really vast, and we cannot see it. We cannot study it all. So we are just going to choose some few functions and then we study them. Another concept, a very important function is counting elements in an array. You need this one in databases, in mathematical calculations, you need it almost everywhere. To count the number of elements in an array, you simply use the count function and then the name of the array. The count function, the name of the array, let's say count names. We already know that these names has 1 element, 2 element, and 3 elements. So if we want to echo the count names, that's the number of elements that are in that array, you see that it will show us 3. So there are 3 elements. This is 1 element, 2 element, and 3 element. Now if I'm to add another element, let's say bonjo, we refresh our page, it goes now to 4. So count simply counts the number of elements in that array. You can retrieve data from a database and then you store it in an array. You can use the count function to count the number of elements in that array. Now let's look at a small array manipulation. Now we still have our array names, which is like this, like this, like this. Now I want to say something. I want to say, for example, let me display a message. I like, let's say, how can I say, I like G, and so on. Okay, I want to say I love Sheila, for example. How are we going to display it? We have our normal echo. I love, like we said, to access an element in an array, we need the array name, which is the array name is $names, and the element position, this is 0, 1, and 2. So enter the element position 2. So you say I love Sheila, and then we refresh. It says I love Sheila. Okay, let's look at this now. We want to do the same thing. I love position 1. It comes I love G. You come again. I love position 3. It comes I love Ponjo, and so on. So you have to write, there's an easy way you can access that information using a loop. And if you have to write I love is really going to be tedious. It's going to be too much work. So we'll simply, let's comment as usual. So if we want to access, remember this is still the word we're working on. Now if you want to access, let me hide this one, I don't need it now. Now we want to use a loop and then display the same I love, that's the same I love. Let it display in the form of a loop. Remember, we said for a loop, the first thing we need to count the number of elements that are inside. So first of all, we can say dollar number. No, we can say dollar number is count dollar names, where it has counted the names and then stored is a number. Since we are using a for loop, I don't need any more introduction about this. Dollar number, which is a count dollar I plus plus. So already at this point you know where we are heading to. So we've just counted the number of elements inside this array names, and then we are looping, we are going through. So we want to echo now, say I love dollar. Now look at this dollar. Now at this point we want to access Paul. I love dollar array dollar name of what? Look, dollar names. Now look at this. I should be 0 because the index is 0, so I should start at 0, and I should end at the count. It should end at the number of elements in that array. So at each point in time, what are we accessing? Remember, to access the element of an array, you need the array position, the element position. So the beginning position, which is I, should be 1. At each point, that position increases by 1. So we are accessing the names of dollar I. Let me repeat again. To access the element in an array, we need the array name. This is the array name, and the element position. If you want to access the 0th element, you enter the name of 0, the first element name of 1, the second element name of 2. So at this point, since we are using a loop to browse through all of this, we use our I is set to 0, so this is our position. So at each point in time we are getting names of I. So for I is 0, name of 0, for I is 1, name of 1, and so on. So we display the information, and then I will come to a new line. Okay, let me just add something different to make it a truly love, so it looks different. Feel as if I have an error. Okay, so this is I truly love Pon G Shell Abonjo and so on. So you see, we've just written this stuff in inside a loop, and we are browsing through that array. We are browsing through all the elements of this array by simply writing a loop. So if you look at it, you see that we've written I love this man, I love that man, I love, and so on. Or you can just echo a particular information. Now let's take another example. Which example? Still like talking about students. Okay, let me just comment this one. I hope I'll not have an error. Okay, I just wanted to comment so that I should not show. Now we have, let me call another array students. Sorry. Another array students. Let me take Richard, Paul, Missy. Which name can I take her? Just remembering something, Baba. She was just like trying to pick something. Okay, dollar rooms. It's an array of room 41. An array of room, let's say dollar room 25, and dollar room 06. Now we've created two arrays here. We have the first array that has to do with an array of students' name, and a second array that has to do with an array of rooms. Now we want to display something like saying Raul lives in room 41, or Richard and Messi live in room 25. Just pause this video. Okay, let me repeat again. We want to display something like Raul lives in room 41. Richard and Mercy lives in room 25. So we want to echo something like this. Raul lives in okay, let's say room R41. Then we come down again. Richard and Mercy live in room. Richard and Mercy, which room can I? Okay, this one takes in room 25. Now this is what we want to do. Just pause this video, and then try to write the code that is going to execute this, or that's going to display like this. Yes, so I'll give you like 2-3 minutes, and then you do it. Pause the video, stop waiting for me. Okay, so we'll come back. I know you've already done it, but let's now check. What matters is the result. I don't know how you did it. Let's just compare our results. You know, the teacher also makes mistakes. So we want to echo the first statement. We'll say echo Raul. Raul is found in the students array. Echo $students. Raul is which element? 0, 1. Is Paul. Okay, let me just put the Raul, since I've been calling Raul all the time. Student 0, 1. Student 1 lives in room dot. Student 1 lives in room 41. So it's now inside the array rooms. $rooms. Rooms what? Room 41. $room 0. So we execute it, and then we see what it gives. Raul lives in room R41. So Raul students 1, which stands for the element 0, 1, lives in room this. So if you did it like this, tick, 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 take your pen and then mark it on your computer. Good. Okay, the next one, come again, echo Richard and Mercy. Richard and Mercy. Now Richard is students 0, students of 0. Students of 0, Richard and Mercy. Mercy is students of what? 0, 1, 2. Mercy is students of 2. Live in room what? In room 25. It's now inside the array rooms. In rooms, what? Room 25. Room 25 is 0, 1. 0, 1. Okay, let's just push this to a new line, so that will be like, okay, let's display it, and we have Richard and Mercy live in room 25. So that's just like explaining how to, like, well, here we want to manage 2 different arrays and so on. So for, okay, just another exercise, just display something like this. Let me see, room R06 is occupied by Baba. Let's say room R06 is occupied by Baba. I know that's a child's play. Well, here the idea is just showing how to create and manipulate an indexed array. You always need it, especially when we get to databases and so on. The next part we are going to see is associative arrays. Very, very interesting. Associative arrays. Now when we talk of, I don't know if I should write it here. Let me come back. Now, when we talk of associative arrays, we simply use named keys. We simply use name keys to assign to items. We simply use name keys to assign to items. When I talk of name keys, I'm going to show it so you see. And then there are 2 ways. There are 2 ways of creating associative arrays. The first one, okay, we've already created an array named students. We will have to create an array using another stuff. Student, houses, cars, names, and just like something that will use the same information without using that stuff. Okay, let's say we'll use back the same information. We'll use back the same information, but we'll give it a different name. Okay, I'm tired here. Dollar occupants. Okay, let's call it occupants. Yeah, occupants. Now I have Richard. We said Richard is in room 35, so Richard is assigned to room 35. Raul is assigned to Raul room 30, room 41. Mercy is assigned to room 25. Baba is assigned to room 06. So this is simply how an associative array is created, like this. This is one of the ways we create an associative array. You realize that when we talk of occupants, it simply means that here Richard is assigned to room this is assigned to room this, and so on. Or we simply say, or we can say dollar occupants now, or we say dollar occupants of Richard. Dollar occupants of Richard is equal to what? R35. That's creating another one. Or we say dollar occupants of Raul is assigned to room 41, and so on and so on and so forth. So this is another way of creating it. So it all depends on you. The name of the array is occupants, and then this is the associative array where they are assigned using items. Now let's say we want to display the same information here. We want to display the same information. Okay, let me comment this. Be sure the page is empty. Now we want to do Paul lives in room 21, and then Richard and Mercy lives in this. Now do it. 2 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes to do it. Okay. Now assuming you've done it, let's start with the first one. Paul lives in room 41. Okay, we'll say echo. Now Raul. To get Raul, how do we get a Raul element? We'll say echo dollar occupants. The first. We'll say dollar occupants. Let's come back. Okay, let's just go. Raul lives in. Okay, dollar occupants. Raul lives in room. Let me be sure of what I'm doing. Room 41 lives in. Okay, rather returns the variable room occupants R41. Let me see something. Okay, I got it. So rather like saying Raul lives in room, so got something like this. We'll say Raul lives in room 41. So in order to get this information, we use the occupants of Raul. So the occupants of Raul, it simply gets us this variable. Now if you want to say Mercy and Richard live in room 25, we simply get Mercy and Richard, or echo Mercy. So Mercy and Richard live in room 25, and then he's going to return this information. So that's simply how associative arrays work and when to use them. Now the next thing in future we are really going to go more into details about arrays, but like I said, this multi-dimensional array, we will use it in the next. We have this one, advanced PHP multi-dimensional arrays, so that one needs more care and so on. The next thing we're going to see is sorting arrays. Sorting arrays. When we talk of, okay, let me come. When we talk of arrays, arrays can simply be sorted alphabetically, numerically, in ascending order or in descending order. And sorting array sorting has different kind of functions. For example, let's say functions. Array sorting functions. We have the A sort. I think the sort first of all, which sorts sorts arrays alphabetically, I'm sure, which sorts arrays, I think anyway, let me just check the function here. I'm mistaken. Let's say sort. Okay, let me see. Let me get some information here and see. Okay, but anyway, this sort array simply sorts everything in ascending order. For example, if you want to make okay, now we have students Richard, Raul, Messi and Baba. So if you want to display maybe students, want to sort students, okay, let's say echo sort students. How can I display these elements again? Okay, let me see. We'll use that for loop. I don't know if it's gonna work. Number one, count dollar students for each CG. I don't know about this sort of stuff. Let me see. Sort students $G. I don't know if this is gonna work. Oh, parameter one to be array string given. Sort. Okay, let me see something. Honestly, I'm missing out on this one. But we have the I function called the sort function. We also have the A sort function. We have the A sort function. Okay, let me just be writing them. I think we have the sort function. I'll explain this. We have the K sort function. We have the AK sort. I think the AK sort. I think it's A sort. I'm forgetting those sort functions are just too much. I think there's sort, A sort, K sort. There is the arrow sort, and so on. So all these functions, honestly, you just have to learn these ones on your own. They are really not that important. We'll talk about the sorting function. It's simply like sorting this one alphabetically, where it has to like sort A first and B first, then comes and sorts this one, then tries to arrange them and so on. But it's just like the usage is what is important. So for now I'll end here about this array sorting, and then in our next tutorial we are going to move on to I forgot about SuperGlobals, sorry. Okay, let me just explain the SuperGlobals briefly. So let me explain SuperGlobals briefly. Now, SuperGlobals are simply variables that can be accessed from any class. They are variables that can be accessed from anywhere. From anywhere, you can be in any class, in any file, in any function. You can access them at any time. Some of them will have the $_get, $_post, $_session, $_request, $_file, $_server. I think there are just so many of them. There are so many of them. Even there's also cookie, yeah, the one for cookie, $_cookie, and so on. So there are so many of these ones. Now this $_get, we use them to manipulate form data using the get method. We use it to manipulate a form data using the get method. It's where we want to collect or send information from a form. We manipulate form data using post method. Then session is simply to manipulate session stored information. We will come to this when we are looking at session. Then this request to get data, get form data, get form or user data using get or post method. Then this one is to get files, to get submitted files. On this server has so many functions. Then cookies also see those ones in advanced stuff. So that's SuperGlobals. We are going to see them. Or for example, if I'm to show like anyway, we'll see them in our next tutorial, because our next tutorial entails using some of these SuperGlobals. So we're going to look at them in the next tutorial. So end here for now.